Hello, you guys, and hope everyone is having a wonderful Saturday wherever you are. Hello, Amanda, over in New Zealand. Hope you're having a great beginning of your weekend. Well, guys, we're here to dig under the hood, to scratch below the surface, to pull the string on Emily Armstrong, Scientology child that grew up in Scientology, Emily Armstrong, that still continues to support what's going on in the Scientology hotels. Emily Armstrong, that has been helped by the Celebrity Center President's office to be placed where she is. We really want to get into this apology. We really want to get into what did Emily know, because I don't think that's being spoken about enough in the context of this apology that she discussed. So here we have, just before this whole entire debacle really blew up, we have a Billboard article saying Lincoln Park's new singer Emily Armstrong on the pressure and passion of singing Chester Bennington's vocal. A story by a reporter that didn't do a shred of due diligence for herself, by the name of Hannah Daly. So imagine Hannah Daly did put this entire headline together and didn't understand how tone deaf she was by really pitching that Emily Armstrong was feeling a lot of pressure and a lot of passion for singing Chester Bennington's vocals. Billboard magazine. And it talks about Emily Armstrong is taking the bitter with the sweet as she steps into her new role as Lincoln Park's co-vocalist amid the band's surprise comeback. I mean, a comeback that is starting to be more of a surprise is more of a shocking comeback, shocking return of this band. That where are all these bandmates of Chester standing up for their friend as they tap a woman that is the antithesis of what those lyrics represent? We're not talking, are her talents okay? We're not even judging. We cannot even get there. Cannot even get to the part where, is she singing? Is her singing okay? Is her singing not okay? This is not a singing problem. This is a problem where Chester, the one who wrote all those lyrics to all those songs that so many people really related to, so many survivors of unthinkable trauma really found an advocate, an outlet for that. While speaking to Billboard's Jason Lipsutz about the rock group's secret return, the Dead Sarah co-founder opened up about both the excitement that she feels as well as the emotions that come from filling the Chester Bennington, whose death in 2017 led Lincoln Park to take a 7-year hiatus. Quote from Emily, "There is so much to this band. This is a very, very important band to this world," unquote, Armstrong said in Billboard's exclusive published September 5th Thursday story. Quote, "I am on cloud 9, but then it hits you that there's a lot of work to be done," unquote, she continued. Quote, I am going into these older songs by a singular voice that is beloved by so many people. It's like, how do I be myself in this, but also carry on the emotion and what he brought in this band? So who wants to tell us that Emily was not aware what type of vocalist, what type of artist, what type of lyrics were sung, were written by an advocate for mental health, an advocate for child survivors of unthinkable criminal acts? Here she is. She was on cloud nine, she says. And apparently you still are on cloud nine, Emily. You couldn't be more tone deaf. You couldn't be more the illegitimate choice to be filling those lyrics. It hits deep because of the utter hypocrisy. It hits deep because of the bandmates of Chester taking a 7-year hiatus only to come back with someone that they didn't bother to do a shred of bare minimum due diligence. Because here she says, I'm going into these older songs with a singular voice that's beloved by so many people. How do I be myself in this? How do you be yourself, honestly, Emily, is what's being asked of you. How can you be singing about these plights when apparently you are still, as of the year 2024, all about supporting, all about giving money, all about having your relationship with your OSA mother, your Scientology OSA mother, the mother that trafficked you as a child, the mother that dumped you in the middle of nowhere in some desolate so-called ranch so you really could have a childhood, so she really could go save a world, right? That's what your mom pitched to you. So here she is knowing that she cannot feel, she cannot be this. And she really is asking herself, oh, how can I really be myself in this? The fact is, you cannot be yourself in this if you are supporting, if you are participating, if you are, waiting for your next Lincoln Park check to go drop at a hotel where, including but not limited to, you are going to get serviced by underage children to be audited, underage children to be given ethics handlings, and underage children to be delivering courses to you. Given the fact that that's the culture that exists, Emily, you couldn't be more literally out of your mind taking on this role. Quote, says Emily, it's Chester's voice and it's mine, but I want it to still feel the way I feel when I listen to the song, because that's what the fans love. You know what the fans love more than anything, Emily? Do you know, if you ask any of us that have listened to those songs that have meant something to us when we were listening to them, as we were leaning on those songs to process unthinkable emotions that we weren't even aware of being able to process at the time, it came with authenticity. That's why people connected with Chester, because he was authentic AF. He wore his heart on his sleeve. He wasn't hiding that he was part of a disgusting hotel operation. If you were brought there by your mom, go take your complaint to your mom. You are a full-grown woman today, Emily. So that's why you don't have a shred of an excuse. All of us grew up in Scientology. In the year 2024, some of us have realized what was really going on, believe it or not. In the years since we were abused, Emily, we have taken ourselves to actual therapists, contrary to what they told us at the hotel. And we've been able to unravel the systemic, institutionalized level of sadistic abuse that a convicted felon pitched. So that's what the fans love. That's what the fans relate to. And that's what the fans like. They connect to his authenticity. Armstrong added, there is a passion to it that I'm hoping I can feel. Well, you know what? You didn't feel it, Emily, did you? You're not really feeling that hope, given that you have ties to the hotels where we were trafficked as kids, to the hotels where we were essayed as kids, to the hotels where we were brought from another foreign country, our passport got locked up, and then as underage kids ended up in the hands of self-admitted PDF files. So just so you're very, very clear how children that have survived that level of unthinkable abuse wouldn't think twice about cradling and canoodling the delusions of our parents that put us in harm's way. Your mother put you in harm's way, Emily. Your mother decided, made the choice that she really was going to save a world by having you dumped in a desolate building. God knows what in the hell happened to you, but you know what? It's called the year 2024. You need to come to the ground. You need to ground yourself. You need to dispel the delusions. All the fake pitches that were given to you at the hotel are not going to be valid anymore, because we are calling you out on the facts. We're calling you out on what matters for you to be repudiating. If you want to even come close to being able to step in the shoes of an artist that, unlike you, was forthcoming, that unlike you, was an advocate for victims of unthinkable crimes, that unlike you, wasn't giving money as a grown adult to further, to enable in any way, shape, or form, to conspire to be anywhere near the systemic cover-up of these criminal acts that are perpetrated in your hotels, where your mother works, where you were all about it, where you go get courses, where you go get audits, where you go get ethics handlings, where you go get serviced. So there is a passion to it, and you cannot feel it, because in what world do you really think you can feel that if you just play pretend? Fake it till you make it is what is giving right about now. The interview arrived on the same day Lincoln Park announced its grand return, with Armstrong on board as Mike Shinoda's new co-vocalist and Colin Britton signing on as a drummer and co-producer. The band also has a new album from Zero arriving November 15 and plans to embark on a major tour starting with 6 arena shows this fall. The group also spoke to Billboard about keeping their reunion under wraps leading up to the big announcement. Well, how stupid can any of them have been to really want to keep this under the wraps? Wanting to make sure that everything was done perfectly in respect to their late bandmate. I mean, again, you guys, like, we are all pissed off that Emily is clowning, that she's fronting, that she's pretending that she's someone that she is not. Emily is one of these kids that, yes, grew up in Scientology, and yes, as of today, isn't bothered in any way, shape, or form by what happened to her, by what happened to all the other kids that she witnessed firsthand get abused. So you had a front row seat at that dysfunction, Emily. And yes, we have advocated on your behalf as well, believe it or not. We have said that you couldn't have consented to have given that front row seat at that level of dysfunction. That has been stated on the record already. But in what world are you now a full-grown, developed woman with access to lawyers, entertainment lawyers at the very minimum, with access to real life experiences, as if you're not an LGBTQ member yourself, Emily, and while you flaunt your privilege to all the other LGBTQ members of the hotels that are underage kids that didn't choose to be part of the hotels, that, you know, because they're not big celebrities, they get told that they are degraded beings. Not you. You are allowed to be a lesbian. You are being allowed by Scientology and your mother and everyone else at the hotel to enable you because you are untouchable as a so-called celebrity. That's how Scientology handled all their celebrities, you guys. So imagine that Emily is completely okay with being gay herself, and she's also completely okay with children being put in security checks, being asked disgusting questions to so-called ungay them. Torture LGBTQ kids that cannot consent to being destroyed in their humanity by degenerates that purport to really have a very high ethical viewpoint. Another part of your fakeness, another part of why you cannot replace Chester, because you are a phony. You're living a life in a closet. You're pretending that you are this, oh yeah, I really want to be a rocker woman. And again, it sucks to be you. It sucks that you, with all of your talents, artistic talents that you can have, are still outsourcing your child trafficking mother's approval to move forward with what you're doing, Emily. Because yes, we are pissed AF that all these kids that grew up in Scientology that are still in there think they're gonna get a pass. Oh yeah, well, you know, you just grew up with all of us. All of us grew up there. And yet we are all making different decisions today. So by all means, follow our lead. By all means, advocate for actual victims. By all means, start living to the expectations of music and lyrics and songs and art that mean a lot more than just some BS like, oh yeah, I'm gonna really sing, I'm really gonna do this. So here's the bandmates pitching that they were really all so careful to really wanna roll out everything so perfectly, and y'all didn't even check even the last bit of shred of background as to who this woman is. After you know that Chester is a child essay survivor. And you know what? We put plenty of videos, you guys, on our YouTube channel already. A simple Google, children in Scientology, and our videos rank. So the idea that all these people, oh, we have no clue, we haven't been told, is BS. In the year 2024, you don't have that excuse. Before you did, 5 years ago, y'all could have, you know, tapped Emily 5 years ago, and sure, you could have had a rollout of your thing, replacing Chester, claiming you didn't know, that you had no sort of a clue, that no one said they were abusing kids with full impunity inside the hotels Emily and her mother literally frequent, endorse, approve, send money to, get tax write-ups from. That's called having skin in the literal game. So any Scientology child that grew up in there, if you're paying for audits, if you're paying for ethics, if you're paying for courses, you are now in the position that your parent was in when they were abusing children. So any abuse you received as a child was not your fault. Any abuse you perpetrate on children after you become an adult is 100% on you. So you're not just gonna be able to go, oh, but it was my mom. If you got 20 years of you as an adult going at those hotels, paying those hotels, knowing everything that goes on in those audits, and are still all about it, well, good luck trying to walk it back. Because again, all of this wishy-washiness that we always get about the people, it's like, no, it's too little too late at this point, to be honest. So part of working under darkness was simply the fact that we didn't know how far we would get into our efforts. DJ visual director Joe Hahn said, well, Joe, you shouldn't have been operating in the darkness. You couldn't be more in the dark. That we agree with you 100%. You couldn't be more in the dark. You couldn't be more looped out. Apparently, Emily must have really been giving you whatever regurgitated pitch about what her background in Scientology is for y'all to decide to scrub it all off and pretend that it won't matter. And yet it does matter. It does matter because of who you are trying to replace Chester with. Who is it that you're replacing her with, and why are y'all still in the dark? As of September 7, 2024, Lincoln Park's band members are still purporting that it is okay to be them and that they can be in the dark. He added, we didn't want to set ourselves or anyone else for disappointment if we weren't able to do it. Imagine we would have saved us the disappointment. Imagine had you been transparent about what your intentions were, we could have told you, yo, Google, just Google and come to your own conclusions, band members. You're all full-grown adults. In what world can you claim that you don't even have access to Google? Imagine being the band members of Chester and really wanting to play dumb on the flip side of this, saying we have no access to Google, we don't give an F, and yeah, let's tap Emily, because that's what we need to do. That's how we really need to relaunch our name. That's how we are going to protect Chester's legacy, by having a woman that is antithetical to whatever he stood for. You couldn't be more pissing on him. All the band members, this is on y'all. It's not Emily's fault. If you fell for her fake pitch, you could have easily found information that should have raised some sort of red flag, given who you were really trying to replace. He added that this has been years of struggling to understand what it can and should be. Damn. Years of struggling, you guys. Years of struggling. Like, wait, what? You took 7 years off to really get it right, and you couldn't have got it more wrong. But you pitch here to the magazines that are helping you sanitize this all. Billboard magazine that apparently has no reporters. They just regurgitate, oh, Emily's saying that she really is the greatest thing. Oh, here's the story. Pay me my check. Corporate Media 101. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. They're in cahoots with the Scientology people. They're in cahoots with laundering the image of the industry plants that Scientology is putting out there. Again, Emily didn't just come out of nowhere. She was funded by a wealthy Scientology father that was paying all her bills, that was paying all of his daughter's bills so that they could really be a band and so they could really become famous, because Scientology is pressed to utilize fame and really parade it around at the hotel and really go, oh, look how great Scientology works. Look at Emily. So Scientology is pressed AF to showcase success stories. And imagine that Scientology is so tone deaf that they pitch a child that was trafficked for her entire childhood as a success story now. There is no excuse. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for the lack of due diligence. There's no excuse for this corporate media that is lazy AF, that does literally couldn't be more clueless if they tried. And really, honestly, you guys, ask yourself, in what world is the corporate media really that clueless? I mean, how stupid can they possibly literally be? In what world does the mainstream media have no access to Google, fact checking, pulling a string, becoming a little curious about something that could be a fake pitch? I mean, I guess no one holds them accountable, so they don't give an F. They're just out there pitching their BS sanitization. So here's Rolling Stone. Cedric Bixler-Zavala slams Lincoln Park's Emily Armstrong over alleged Danny Masterson support. This is a story by John Blitzstein. And here's, Zavala, as they were safe pointing, as they were trying to get Emily to rub shoulders with actual literal artists that are not industry plants, that have gotten to where they are on their own merit, that have been pulling strings behind the scenes, getting special favors to create an industry plant. So that's what Scientology does. Oh, look, here's a legit one. Let's really put Emily next to him. Let's really have them become friends. The Mars Volta Cedric Bixler-Zavala recirculated a sharp criticism of Linkin Park's new vocalist Sarah Armstrong, Emily, over her ties to the Church of Scientology, aka the cult of Scientology, and alleged support of convicted rapist Danny Masterson. It ain't alleged. We got the witnesses there. She was showing up when it was hard to show up, given that it was COVID time. So Emily had to do a lot of things to get herself to that courtroom. It wasn't alleged. The support was given. Quote from Zavala: "Do your fans know about your friend Danny Masterson? Your rapist friend?" Bixler-Zavala wrote in a comment posted on the Instagram page of Armstrong's band Dead Sarah last year. Bixler-Zavala's wife, Chrissy Cornell Bixler, was one of several women who accused Masterson of sexual assault. While the actor was not convicted on the charges tied to her allegations, he was found guilty on charges brought by two other Jane Doe accusers. Cornell Bixler is also part of a civil suit against Masterson, who was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. Bixler-Zavala and Cornell Bixler are also both former Scientologists, and they also long accused the cult of Scientology of harassing them over their pursuit of justice against Masterson, a prominent Scientologist himself. Well, imagine, Emily, that this problem hits home for you. Given that your mom and dad work at OSA, Emily, given that fact, your mom is part of the brain operation on how to fair game, on how to illegally intimidate witnesses. It's a crime. Your mother is involved in criminal activity, Emily. Open your goddamn eyes. It's all sitting there for you to open your eyes. Your mother literally is doing horrific, disgusting things at OSA. You would know. Your mother already put you at the cadet org for you to not have a childhood. So the crimes couldn't just be literally so obvious all over the place, but apparently the only people that fail to find out what is really going on with them are the people that are, conveniently being used to further the image of Scientology, as it's being done with you, Emily. As if your talent wasn't being exploited by Scientology to really put you where they're putting you. Armstrong has ties to Scientology too. There's a photo featured above of her and Bixler-Zavala at the Church of Scientology Center in 2013 for a gala celebrating the church's 44th anniversary. And in 2020, Armstrong showed up to the courthouse ostensibly to support Masterson during his trial. Imagine you are this Rolling Stone so-called reporter, John Blitzstein, and you are so glib. You are so over the surface. You lack the capacity to do any due diligence and just, write that, oh, I did find one photo of her and him together at the Celebrity Center, and that's what shows that Armstrong has ties to Scientology. Armstrong was born in Scientology. Armstrong was at the cadet org. Her mother and her father are long life, their whole life, working at OSA, working for Scientology, working at doing the most unthinkable, disgusting jobs that anyone could possibly be doing in furtherance of, really doing whatever the convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard said to do. So again, this is Rolling Stone trying to really play dumb, really trying to downplay, really trying to, wash an image and launder it. Oh, she just has some ties. Why was Emily so close to the Mastersons? Because she didn't want to be in the Sea Org. Remember, Emily, when you didn't want to be in the Sea Org anymore? I saw you. I saw you right when you decided to not want to be there anymore. I saw you all running around Hollywood, all hanging out with all the Scientologist people that we were hanging out with back in the day. I didn't happen to be close to Danny Masterson and his clan because I was ex-Sea Org and considered not cool enough. And yes, my gayness did bother them. Your lesbianism didn't bother them. Because in Scientology, they don't care if you're a lesbian. They only care if you're a gay man. Celebrity speaking wise, let's make sure that that's clear. Since they do have you and Catherine, and Brooke Jones, the other lesbian celebrities that, oh yeah, make it, oh, so LGBTQ, oh yeah, we couldn't be more LGBTQ. If you are a celebrity in Scientology and you are a lesbian, then they have no problem with you. If you are a lesbian and not a celebrity, then they're gonna out-lesbian you. Like Nora has already told us, like Liz Ferris has already told us, like all other gay kids that grew up in this, that were abused, that were told that they were disgusting, degraded people. Let's make sure that that's clear. It wasn't just like anything. It was disgusting abuse. All LGBTQ members get abused in disgusting, dehumanizing ways. Right where Emily's mom still works. So flunk to this glib journalist that really wants to go, oh yeah, we saw a little bit of a Celebrity Center gala in 2013. And in 2020, Armstrong showed up to the courthouse ostensibly to support Masterson during his trial. Last year, Bixler Zavala left a comment on Dead Sarah's Instagram page, which he screen grabbed and reposted in his stories following the announcement that she joined Lincoln Park. It appears Bixler Zavala has since deleted the story, but is still up on Cornell Bixler's stories. Quote, I'm surprised none of you wrote a letter on Danny Masterson's behalf since your corny-ass singer showed up to support him in the prelims. Prelims. So that's going to be very important that you guys really do keep in mind. Because Emily showed up in the prelims. She didn't show up for the court. She didn't show up for the testimony. She showed up to before even anything took place, before any court took place, before any testimony was given, before any of that happened. She showed up for the technicalities. Remember, Emily, remember how your fellow Scientology goon squad surrounded one of the Jane Does when she was trying to leave the elevators? The court sheriff had to escort her away from your awful cult. How do you reconcile the homophobia found in the teachings of convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard? How? How do you reconcile them? today, Emily, since you are a full-blown lesbian, tell us how. Tell us how you can be living in this level of cognitive dissonance, in this level of entitlement, because, oh, I'm very famous, Scientology loves me, it's great to be me, I get all manner of special favors at these hotels because I'm told I'm very, very special. That's what all the celebrity Scientologists get told 24/7, you guys. So before you go, oh, how could you really stand for that? They love it. They love it. They cannot get enough of being told how great and wonderful they are. That's why Tom Cruise is there. That's why John Travolta is there. That's why Emily Armstrong is there. That's why Jenna Elfman is there. That's why all the celebrities were there, to be told, oh yeah, you really are great and amazing, and we don't know what we could do without you, and you're so OT, and you're so special, and you're so great and wonderful. So meanwhile, they're getting afforded a bunch of, you know, child slaves, including but not limited to, that are trafficked from across the world, whose visas were locked up, and all of that reeks criminal behavior. But yet, as of the year 2024, we have Rolling Stones to thank for, you know, kind of pretending that they don't know what they're writing about. Okay, you guys, just really let that sink in. Rolling Stones that did decades ago had one investigative reporter that missed the story of the children. So yes, Rolling Stones, that book and all these articles that you put out, all your reporting has not included the systemic institutionalized child trafficking and enslaving of underage kids. So all your pathetic reporting missed the withhold of these people. And you now have more reporters that apparently can have access to any of the documents that would give them context in if they're gonna write about the subject. You better start doing a shred of due diligence. If you're gonna report on this, better start doing your due diligence. Because there's no more excuses. Back in the day, yes, you could excuse that, oh, nobody told us that, oh, we had no eyeballs at the hotel, we had no clear idea of what in the hell was going on. Today, no one in the corporate media has that pathetic excuse to make for themselves, you guys. Thanks to all the kids that have come forward and have given their testimony as to what was going on with them, testimony that has been systemically trivialized, whitewashed, and laundered by the American press. Let's make sure that that is very, very clear. Who's the aiders and abettors and the enablers and the image launderers of Scientology? Who's responsible for pitching Scientology as a church? The Tampa Bay Times certainly is. The Rolling Stones certainly is. All of these reporters that report whatever they've been told. Oh, I was told it was a religion. Oh, the IRS really did tell us. Cannot be reporting lies. And we would know that you're reporting lies because we were there being trafficked as kids. We were there with our passports locked up, Rolling Stones. So get your literal you-know-whats out of your you-know-whats if you're going to keep, you know, reporting and sanitizing stories. Because this is just awful and ridiculous reporting. In a story of her own, Carnell Bixler called Armstrong a hardcore Scientologist who supported convicted serial rapists both in and out of court, referencing to Masterson, though not mentioning him by name. Emily Armstrong is a true believer of the Scientology cult criminal organization that engages in human and child trafficking, child and elder abuse, the cover-ups of countless essays on children and adults. So again, in what world is this Lincoln Park bandmates and whoever tapped this woman to really fill this role with no due diligence going to tell us that, you know, that yeah, they were all about it, and you know, Emily's a great addition, and we really have to, you know, hide ourselves because we really are really worried about the rollout of this. I mean, again, they wanted to work with no shred of transparency, you guys. So here's Rolling Stone 2 hours ago that published this, image laundering article. Rolling Stone, clear the air, quote unquote. Lincoln Park's Emily Armstrong responds to Danny Masterson's support, claims, I misjudge him, quote. You misjudged who, Emily? Because I think your band that you're in right now, Chester's bandmates misjudged you. That's what this is giving. That's what this is giving right about now. Who's really been misjudged? Singer admits she attended convicted actor's pretrial hearing, but, quote, I have never spoken with him since. Unimaginable details emerged, and he was later found guilty. Damn, Emily. I mean, imagine you sit here pretending you don't know what an ethics cycle is, Emily. Imagine you sit here in the year 2024 pretending that you have no idea what a security check is, what an audit, what a Scientology audit is, Emily. Imagine your mother works at OSA with full access to what was it, Emily? Yeah, the ethics files, the PC files. Of who? Danny Masterson. Your mother could call them. Hey, I want Danny's folder right now. I want to read it. I want to see what type of questions were being asked in 2003 and 2005. Every single time those crimes were being covered up with Scientology floating needles. So this one literal quote couldn't be more of a lie. Unimaginable details emerged. Emerged from where? The unimaginable details were being data mined out of Danny and out of the victims, given that that's the technology that Scientology sells to adults. So before anybody gets very confused, let's not be confused anymore. The year's 2024, and it calls for everyone to become unconfused about what a convicted felon pitched with a straight face to be done, to float a needle to self-admitted felons, including but not limited to child, PDF files, serial, rapists. They all get all manner of deals inside of the hotels, right, Emily? Ask your mother. She works at OSA. Your mother would know. Your mother would know exactly what type of deals these self-admitted felons are getting. And you would know because you as a Scientologist know what an ethics handling is. You as a Scientologist knows what an audit is. And you as a Scientologist has done the grooming disgusting courses. So enough of this idea that no one knows, you guys, because that's the lie. The lie that all Scientology, current and exes, have perpetrated on the public record is that nobody knew. The problem is that they all knew. The problem is that they all know. The problem is that this all was data mined with a straight face, monetized, and then tax breaks given to the self-admitted, literal, convicted, not convicted in the court of actual law, because they all got, oh yeah, do our program. Why go to the court if you can just float it away here inside of our hotel? And Emily would know. Emily knows that there were KRs written at the time. Emily knows everything. You couldn't be more up to your neck and ears in knowing, Emily, but you do play dumb real quick, real fast here. New Lincoln Park singer Emily Armstrong has responded to claims that she supported Danny Masterson during the convicted actor's rape trial. On Friday, hours after Armstrong premiered as Linkin Park's new vocalist, the Mars Volta Cedric Bixler Zavala turned to social media to resurface claims that Armstrong, the then singer of the band Dead Sarah, showed up to support him in the prelims. Ahead of Masterson's trial in 2020, Bixler Zavala's wife, Chrissy Bixler, was also one of the several women who accused Masterson of sexual assault. Hours after Bixler Zavala's post, Armstrong addressed the situation in her Instagram stories. Oh, great. In your Instagram stories that you really thought were going to just stay up for 24 hours and then everyone's going to forget. Wrong. Writing that her support of Masterson only spanned the one hearing, and that she became convinced of the actor's guilt soon after. I'm new to so many of you, and I wanted to clear the air about something that happened a while back. Not too long back, Emily. Not too long back. Hi, I'm Emily. I'm new to you, so many of you, and I wanted to clear the air. Clear the air by spewing more lies does not clear the air. Let's just start with that fact. So as much as you are literally lying through your teeth here that you really want to clear an air, if you wanted to clear an air, you would start coming clean. If you wanted to clear an air, you would start taking responsibility for aiding and abetting, supporting, transferring money to the hotel, where you would know firsthand how children are treated, Emily. So enough of the excuses for you. You know how kids are treated inside of the hotels. You were treated like that yourself. You know that other kids are exposed. And where is your advocacy for them? Because in case you didn't Google who Chester was, that's what he was advocating for. That's what he was in support of. Advocating for kids that are horrifically essayed inside of the hotels, or inside of not the hotels, because he didn't even know that this was going on. So imagine how no clearing of the air you're doing with this. Several years ago, I was asked to support someone I considered a friend at a court appearance, and went to one early hearing as an observer. Soon after, I realized that I shouldn't have. I always tried to see the good in people, and I misjudged him. You always try to see the good in people, and yet apparently you're still suffering from that. Apparently you being so teety-weety, you being so, oh, everyone's so good and wonderful, no one could have done anything to anybody, Emily. Take a look at your teety-weety attitude that you're having, because it's that level of, oh, I really see the good in everybody, that is actually harming your perceptions of the facts. And yes, for a long time, everyone could get away with it because no one knew what the hell was wrong. It wasn't getting called out. It wasn't being repudiated. It wasn't being exposed. Well, today, you don't have that luxury anymore, because everybody here in our lives is finding out exactly what you all were doing at the hotel. Is finding out exactly that, you know, it wasn't just David Miscavige that was really ruining the party for everybody. Was he? It was all of you who know, all of you who donate to this place, all of you who go to your business manager and really go, can I get a tax write-off? I'm about to give them 40 grand to advance my status at the hotel, to get SEC checked by a child, to get audited by a child, to get ethics handled by a child, to get supervised by a child. That's what the problem is. So if you really want to see the good in everyone, start seeing reality. Stop seeing people in the reality that is a delusion. Because the good in people doesn't exist if they are harming kids. If they're harming kids, nothing good is happening. If that's what's happening as a systemic institutional practice, guess what? The whole thing is rotten to the core. There's nothing salvageable about it. There's nothing okay about dehumanizing other kids. It's a criminal act. I always try to see the good in people and I misjudge him. I have never spoken with him since unimaginable details emerged and he was later found guilty. Imagine that here it's given, you don't know how to literally type. I mean, imagine that this must be because you didn't even go to school, Emily, because you wouldn't put, I always try to see the good in people and I misjudge him, period. I have never spoken with him since, period. Unimaginable capital details emerge. And he was later found guilty. Unimaginable details. Unimaginable details. That's really what you and your PR team went with. Unimaginable details. I mean, this is sanitizing 101. This is giving, your mother must have been writing this little statement with you. You must have been right next to your OSA mother writing a statement about this, Emily. This is exactly what a statement from OSA looks and sounds like. They try to cover all their PR bases because that's all they ever had. A bunch of PR that they've sprayed all over the fucking fake pitch so that no one can see through it. Well, you know what? Your days of not getting called out are frankly completely over. To say it as clearly as possible, I do not condone abuse or violence against women, and I empathize with the victims of these crimes. To say it as clear as possible, you are lying through your teeth, because every victim of SA inside of the hotels is not being helped, are they, Emily? By being told, oh, get over your rape, because you know what? Your needle floated. You should just be over it. That's what children are told inside of the hotel, Emily. So in what world are you really not wanting to condone abuse when you are a paid member of these hotels? You're paying for a membership. You must have a paid membership to be anywhere near their lines. So before you go, oh, I wasn't a part of them, you are a grown adult now, not a child, and you are now a paid member of these hotels. They are your hotels. They are your group. They are your chosen group and family. So those are the facts that you need to literally wake up to. These are the facts that need to be understood by all the people that think that this 24-hour BS pitch from OSA is really what is going to clear up anything. Several years ago, I was asked to support someone I considered a friend at a court appearance. And I went to one early hearing as an observer. Soon after, I realized I shouldn't have. I always try to see the good in people. In a separate social media post on Friday, Christy Cornell Vixler called her a hardcore Scientologist. Armstrong herself did not address her ties to Scientology or the allegations against the cult in her statement, but added, quote, to say it is as clearly as possible, I do not condone abuse or violence against women, and I empathize with the victims of these crimes. So again, you are literally stating what in Scientology is called an out point. It's a contrary fact. You can't say I support and don't condone when you're a paid member of where people get audited, ethics handled, and brought through courses that washes away like magic. All of a sudden, needle is floating. All the criminal acts that were admitted to in full inside of those hotels are set to float away. That is condoning abuse. That is literally deluding yourself that self-admitted crimes can float. That is the pitch of a convicted felon given to you. So if you're still going with that pitch, then you're literally furthering that, and you can't say that you are for victims or you are for anybody but for yourself, because that's what in the hell this is giving. You are in this, you're in it for yourself, and this is something that is not going to be accepted by anybody. Izzy B, I'm a huge LP fan and was devastated to hear about their new front person. I have spent the past 2 days posting information on fan sites, interview reactions, etc., and I do my best to explain, but refer to Serge and Aaron. I want to protest 9/11 forum show. Great idea. Great idea, Izzy B. It needs to be protested. We need to start getting our voices heard, and we need to also start holding these band members accountable for what they did. It's their lack of due diligence that has literally created this, unthinkable disaster. So I agree with you. Let's go protest at the forum. Gussie Gora, will Armstrong write about concepts she can't conceptualize? Good question. Good question. Susie Q, cognitive dissonance on steroids. Yeah, it's the delusion, you guys. It's the delusion and the lies. And the problem is that in Scientology, they teach every single person there to lie. They literally teach you as a child to lie about everything so that, Scientology never looks bad. And it's just so unthinkable. Guso Goro, did Scientology buy this job placement for Armstrong? They wouldn't have bought it, but she's been on so-called president lines. And the president lines are the people behind the scenes in Hollywood. Planning, plotting, figuring out how do we get to this person? How do we get in the circle of this? How do we make ourselves more influencer? Because that's their literal statistic. So Scientology was 1000% behind the rise of Emily Armstrong. The only reason she has anything right now is because she stayed close to Scientology. She didn't claim her independence. She didn't cut ties. She didn't go and figure it out for herself. She was brought in and she was literally planted there on Lincoln Park. And that's what they use, because they go, oh, look at Emily. She's so normal, great, and successful. Doesn't everybody want to go do Scientology now? Hogan's Basher, I hope all of this publicity brings abuses to the forefront with all the fans and the backlash. Very true. Very, very true. Malarkey comment, I just finished watching yesterday's stream. Hugs to Serge, and thank you for holding LP and Emily accountable. Thank you, Malarkey. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Krista. I appreciate it. Hello, Farrell Cheryl. Good to see you. Chester is rolling right now. They slapped him across the face. Stereophonics mom. That's exactly what it is. And again, you guys, as we started with the live, there's all this fake facade pitch of, oh, let's really be careful to really do the right thing here. And again, with such a sensitive placement, in what world do we see such insensitivity all over the public record? Cajun, a protest needs to be organized for Lincoln Park concerts. Absolutely, Cajun. And I'm very, very glad for Izzy B telling us to do a protest on the 9/11 at Forum. So this is right here in LA. So we really should look into that. Chester was such a strong speaking, singing on his abuses. I don't want to hear her and LP again. He gave so much money to shelters and anti-abuse organizations. I mean, again, you guys, like, for so many fake influencers that we have, for so many fake influencers that YouTube has given us, a la Mr. Beast. Oh yeah, I really want to be very philanthropic. And meanwhile, they're all just a bunch of literal BSers. And then you have people that did go through abuse, that are victims, that are struggling, that did show their legacy and their art, and that everyone connected because of their authenticity, because they were not just pretending to be something. So exactly, Natcat. We're not disappointed. We're outraged and devastated, and frankly, in utter shock. I mean, so true, Natcat. I mean, in my wildest dreams did I ever think this could be possible. I mean, this is so outlandish and outrageous. It's just literally crazy. Ivana, hello, Ivana. There's no room to defend this decision, especially with everything related to child abuse across the globe. I mean, there's just no defense. There is no defense. Snooseroni, good to see you. Rolling Stone is a freaking joke. I mean, seriously, between Billboard and Rolling Stone and all the media that sanitizes the image of Scientology, that makes money every time they publish these stories, but they never use that money to really actually continue to follow up on the story and to really dig under the hood. That's what Rolling Stone is getting called out for, because they've had plenty of access to the Scientology story, Rolling Stone. They've had plenty of people that literally even wrote a whole book about it, purporting they're very expert. And imagine their top investigative journalists didn't figure out that children were being abused. Because again, all we ever get from the corporate media is, oh my God, you guys, let's really tell you about adults doing disgusting, unthinkable things to other adults and being very pressed about it. That's all we ever get. Cockamamie stories of all this, all that. And meanwhile, all of those adults brought their kids. And meanwhile, all the corporate media of America blanks out, becomes completely disassociated with reality, because they never actually pull the string and get to the Sherman tank. They always just report glib details so they can get their stories out, and then their little legal department is all about it. Nuzuroni, get your sticky notes and put them on their CDs. Supports trafficking NSA. I mean, right here, we got the sticky notes at hand, you guys. Great idea. Exactly. This is not a cloud I won over Lincoln Park and Chester. I mean, Chester's legacy. I mean, again, the bandmates of Chester did what they did. It's now up to them. It's now incumbent on them to undo what they done, because we all can see how Chester's legacy is being contaminated by literally tapping on the worst person in the whole wide world that you could tap for this role. Out of all the women that are out there that are incredible rock singers, they had to tap this Scientology industry plant. Damn. Susie Q, Emily, speak out and get a new family of authentic people who are out of Scientology. I mean, absolutely, Susie. Emily, you are in the position to literally advocate for all the child abuse that you witnessed, for all the crimes that were perpetrated on you. It's up to you as a grown adult to make that choice. It's up to you to use that platform to really make a change, to really actually use a platform for good, not for sham influence. Izzy, I don't live stream, but if the streamer would like to go with me, I'll buy the ticket. Their fans need to know kids cannot consent. Great, Izzy. Well, yeah, we don't even need the tickets. We need to be just outside. So let's start just organizing. I'm glad that you brought up that they're going to play at the Forum on 9/11 because, yeah, September 11th is a perfect day to protest this horrific thing. So email me and let's get together to figure out how we could, get people out. Lara, thank you for calling out the facts that no one wants to be effing real with. Well, thank you so much for your support, Laura, of course. We know we were there as kids. We know we're on the flip side. We know we are not okay with what took place and it needs to be called out. So all of us are in this together, saying no more child abuse, no more child trafficking, no more playing dumb. Susie, these publications need to find their huevos and stop using wishy-washy language. But then the corporate lawyers are involved. I mean, yeah. But you know what? It's like they want to really pretend that they're like brands of actual investigative journalism and they don't even know how to investigate. All reporters are invited to go get an investigation course from L. Ron Hubbard. Do that. That's a technology that L. Ron Hubbard did develop that he was good about. And he did teach us that as kids. He did teach us how to investigate. And it's coming in handy right about now. Because you know what? When someone spews a lie at you, you can immediately just be like, oh, that's a contrary fact. Oh, that's an altered importance. Oh, they're just trying to literally lie to me, to my face. So, yes, all the investigative reporters of this United States need to go get a class in Scientology on how to investigate because y'all are clueless and could be more pathetic or missing all of Scientology's withholds to the detriment of the kids. Ada, I sped this up. I'm trying to catch up. Sergio, come and go on Scientology channels. Keep educating. Lincoln Park can work with this and learn from it. I mean, definitely. I mean, imagine that they did stumble into what Chester cared more about, which is advocating for people that are going through unthinkable mental health crisis, which is all the kids at that hotel, and kids that are being abused in unthinkable ways, which is all the kids there. So Lincoln Park, if you really want to do something, by all means, have a heart-to-heart with Emily. Get her to become honest and straight with you guys about what her childhood was like, what she witnessed firsthand. And then start advocating for change for those kids, because kids deserve and are owed advocates. And there's not enough advocates advocating for the faith of all the kids being abused as we speak. Emily's a grown woman, she's out of there. I'm a grown man, I'm out of there. We're not children anymore. You all cannot save us anymore. All we can do is curtail the unfettered access to underage kids that these people are getting. That's all we can do. That's all the power we have. That's all the things we can change in the world. Our childhoods aren't going to change anymore. Everything that was done to us has already been done. Hello, Real Sassafras. Thank you. Joe, I don't think she will last as long as much of the backlash. Also, weirdly, it brought attention to Scientology and the crimes, which can be a good thing to help end the cult. I mean, yeah, but not at the expense of Chester's legacy. It's like, that's why those of us who actually are fans of him are disgusted, because, with all of what I want Scientology to stop abusing kids, I would never want Chester's good legacy to be tarnished with this unthinkable move. But yeah, I mean, now we can only move forward, I guess, right? Observer, you did more than that. Exactly, Emma. She did definitely more than that. Sion, she did exactly what's right in her position. You all know how dangerous this insane cult can be. She can't just call them out. She did what's best in her situation. Sorry, but yeah. Well, yeah, Sion, and that's fine. You can join the ranks of people that don't want to advocate for kids. You can join the ranks of adults that want to make it about themselves, how scared they are as adults. Meanwhile, who do you think suffers when that level of shoddy advocacy is what's being pitched with a straight face? Oh, yeah, Emily, you're so, oh, just do whatever is good for you, girl. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Sorry, you are delusional. How can anybody ignore the fact that Scientology is dangerous? Should she just sacrifice her whole life for a public outcall? That's absurd. What's absurd is that she is a child that grew up in those hotels. What's absurd is that she's a grown woman today. What's absurd is that she has been placed there by Scientology. She's been helped every single step of the way to get to where exactly she got. What's absurd is that kids continue to be abused as we speak today, Sian. So maybe do your research before you just start spewing, enabling language, ableist language that has been spewed for 74 years as everyone around plays dumb. Scientology is a criminal organization. What do you think we are doing when we're coming up and speaking what in the hell we saw in those hotels? Where's that energy from you? Oh, yeah, you know, they're so dangerous. What's dangerous is to be committing crimes on children. You can actually advocate for yourself as an adult. You can actually get lawyers as an adult. You can actually dial the FBI when you have a cell phone in your hand. You can actually have surveillance put on you so that they don't F with you. When you're a child, they F you. So apparently that's not clear to you, and we're not here to convince you of what's common sense. What could she do more? She distanced herself from Masterson, and that was the most important thing. Wrong. The most important thing is that Chester was a child of SA. The most important thing is that we were children that were SA'd inside of that hotel. So in what world is her saying that, oh yeah, I haven't talked to Danny? In what world is that making a shred of difference? Holly Cannoli, protest sign suggestion, no more kids in Scientology. In the end, it does matter. Absolutely. Absolutely. Great idea. Yeah, only by calling them out by name will she put the scandal to rest. I mean, that's what it's called. I've never done a video on Emily. I've never mentioned her name. There was never a reason to. I mean, yes, I knew that she was part of that Sarah. Yes, I knew that she had a career. When we do these videos, you guys, it's not like we're looking after and saying how horrible we can speak about somebody. I have compassion for her. I have empathy for her plight. I see how she's being used by Scientology, and I'm giving her the facts so that she, as a grown woman that she is today, can wake up and make a different choice today, that she can stand on the right side of the street, on what's lawful, on what's legal, on what's human. All adults, even if you grew up in it, whatever scary thing they fed you at the hotel was a lie. And Cian, I'm sorry, but it's just outright mean to call her out that way too. She already did what she could without putting her own life in danger. What has she done so that no more kids are stuck at the hotels, Ian? Because that's what you need to answer to us. What has Emily Armstrong done so that children that are being essayed are not being told that they pulled in that level of SA? So if you can answer that question, then we'll consider what you have to say. But that's what you have to answer. I don't want to call her out. I want fans to know. I want them to know what goes on and what they've aligned themselves with. Yeah, I mean, we are calling her out, and I do want her to wake up. In what world is cradling and canoodling dangerous, deranged delusions of a convicted felon is helping that person? Because that's what I would like to know. For anyone that wants to really project, oh, it's so mean, you're being so mean. You are being mean by letting her be delusional. You are being mean by not letting her know what the facts are. You are being mean by having the ability to see that for yourself and go, okay, well, you know what? Do you? And yes, if only adults were hurting themselves in this entire operation, then we would not be speaking. But at the end of the day, we're speaking because no one is speaking for the kids. Emma, support for LP protesting. Hope we can go and educate fans. Thank you, Emma. That's what it's called. Nebulous 111, just like the hoodwinking tactics in plain sight, that cross is nothing to do with Christ, as Emily is nothing to do with the legacy of LP. Very well stated. Valley Manson, the only inference LP has now is literal hell for children. I mean, again, that's what's unthinkable. In what world would anybody do this to themselves? I mean, there's so much gaslighting and bamboozling going on, and it's getting called out because no one is helped if no one confronts the facts on their face. No Scientologist is being helped by saying, well, you know, believe whatever you want. If L. Ron Hubbard, convicted felon that he wasn't, is, told you, then I'm sure it's going to be great for you. We're saying no, it's not great. And it is a literal hell of a place for any child to be in. Exactly, Lauren. Protect the kids because kids cannot consent. Thank you, Diddy Bird. Steve, spot on. Rolling Stone fears the cult. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Thank you, Izzy. Well, contact me by email and let's see if we can figure out some way of raising awareness there, because I think it would be a very good opportunity. Yeah. That's true, Nebulous. You might come across a Dianetic stand in public, yet you never see a Scientology stand in public. Think about it, people. That's exactly right, because that's their little, you know, tactic, their bait and switch. Oh, Dianetics. Like, that's what people don't really know what it is. But it's just like a way for them to be bringing the people into the hotels to do Scientology. Exactly, Hirschberg. Kids cannot consent. And this is such a good point, Titty Bird. I'm so happy this outreach is happening so close to us finding out about the band's move. The cult is finding out their outdated playbook isn't allowing them to outrun their bad reputation anymore. I mean, yeah, let the record state that these days Scientology will not get away with doing these type of plant industry operations to the detriment of iconic artists whose legacy should be protected and respected, because the level of disrespect is just inconceivable. Steve, hope this is not a pathetic publicity stunt by LP. I mean, I don't think so. Linkin Park is already an iconic name. It's already an iconic band. Like, their music didn't need any type of publicity stunts, but they really have stepped in it. They really, really have stepped in it in a way that is inconceivable, given that, again, the context of Chester's plight, given that literal context. Lauren, why hasn't our government overlords gone in and protected these kids? Why is that? Because, Lauren, nobody has advocated for kids being in Scientology. For the last 74 years, all the adults that place the kids inside of the hotel cannot be anywhere to be found to advocate against that, to raise awareness. Like, we are in a new era. As of the year 2024, we have the first book that's been written about the hotels of darkness in Denmark that has only been written in Danish, because in Denmark, they are calling it what it is, slavery, which is highly illegal, which is highly disgusting. The fact that all these kids, that we all as kids ended up being slaves for adults, is the travesty. And it's a travesty that has been sanitized by the corporate media, because they continue to pitch that whatever child trafficking we experienced as kids was called religion. And as long as they continue to spew that lie, everyone continues to play dumb, purporting that, you know, apparently child trafficking is the religion of America. So that's what in the hell this is giving at this point. Selena fan para siempre. What's up, Selena fan para siempre? Emily Armstrong had the opportunity to use her celebrity to right the wrongs that are continuing to happen to children in Scientology. Exactly. That's all she has to do. She has to come to her senses. She has to really get, you know, open her eyes. She's going to have to really understand what in the hell she's a part of now as an adult. And yes, use her platform to raise the awareness for everything she went into her childhood to not be done to other kids. That's what's being asked. That's what's being demanded, actually. You know, and then yes, she could fill Chester's shoes, advocating for kids and really exposing that unthinkable level of abuse. I mean, imagine if that happened, you guys. Imagine what would that do? Honestly, think about it. Imagine what that would actually do. Emily comes to her senses. She really understands the type of shoes she stepped in to really put that legacy there. And yes, if she did that, yes, if she stopped the child abuse from happening inside of the hotels, Chester, an advocate of child abuse, would be very happy and we would not be having this problem with her lying. Every term she gets, she's lying, and that's what's being called out, like literally on the public record. That's the problem that we have today. Mud Skipper, people should think before they go and publicly simp for child abusers. I mean, literally, it's not in anyone's best interest to be simping like that, literally. River Cat. Hello, River Cat. She can jump in, see shoes, and advocate for the kids. I mean, that's what would clear up this problem. in a second. In a second, this problem goes away. Once the facts are exposed, confronted, and the kids that have never had an advocate start being advocated for in a meaningful way that changes things for them today, so that they are not inside of the hotel, so that they're not subjected to disgusting audits where kids are being trapped against their will, which is not a religious experience we ever had for ourselves. So that's all that could be asked at this point. And thank you, Tilly Bird. Hashtag kids cannot consent. So that's what it means to have grown up in those hotels, you guys. That's what it means to have been abused by all the adults that rationalize calling children adults, that rationalize placing children in positions where they were told to role play being the slaves of grown-ass adult men and women that were drunk in their own power because a convicted felon told them that as long as they were doing his bidding, they could be drunk in power, they could commit criminal acts, and everything was going to be okay, and our world was going to be saved. No world is being saved while children are being abused. And we'll say it today, we'll say it again as many times as we need to, because we're going to continue to raise awareness. We're going to continue exposing whatever lies are put on the public record until people really start taking this problem as serious as it is, until we stop getting the American press whitewashing the facts so that they can have their corporate attorneys happy by not doing a shred of due diligence. Those days are over. Children are owed advocates, are owed someone to be making a case that they should not be getting abused willy-nilly because a convicted felon wrote it down on a piece of paper. And we invite Emily to have ethics change. We want to see that ethics change in the physical universe. Putting PR statements that continue to lie, that continue to obfuscate the facts, are not going to help anything. If Emily does a live interview telling the story, I would have respect and would support her all the way. We would all support her standing on the right side of the street, calling out and advocating for the kids that don't have advocates at the hotel right now, because that's where the attention needs to be. The attention isn't about making it about ourselves. The attention is about, we are adults. No one advocated for us, and we can only be the change we want to see. That's the only thing that the present day present us with as child that were literally surviving this. So yes, Emily, by all means, show us that you give an F. Show us that you care. Show us that you're in this for the right reasons. Show us that you will listen to criticism, constructive criticism. You're being told to denounce the people that have been making you a slave since you were a child. You can denounce that. As a grown adult, we cannot intervene because you are a grown adult. So it's going to require you to take your 2 feet and walk it out of that dysfunction. Ask any addict that has ever recovered. No one can do it for you. You have to do it as a grown adult by yourself. It's going to be hard. It's going to require a lot of confronting the facts, confronting the truth. But that's what this moment is calling for. And as long as we all continue to band together and to advocate so that no more kids end up in your situation, no more kids end up getting locked up inside a Scientology hotel, getting told that they're being helped when they're not getting helped, when they're getting abused. So thank you guys so much for watching. We will keep discussing. We'll keep covering. Please like, please subscribe, and please help us get to a day where there's going to be no more kids stuck at the Scientology hotels getting abused. Thank you, and I'll see you guys soon.